No cameras, no official schedule, no proof meant for the public eye. Yet one quiet gesture in a freezing backstage corridor has shaken global fandoms. Because sometimes, the softest moments leave the loudest echoes. The stage was blazing with light. Music thundered through the arena. The countdown to a new year wrapped the night in anticipation. At the center of it all stood Xiao Zhan, alone under the spotlight at the 2026 Oriental TV New Year's Eve Gala in Shanghai. Calm, grounded, unshakably focused. His performance wasn't just visually flawless, it was vocally fearless. Full live vocals. No safety net. No hiding place. Every note landed with quiet confidence. Each movement precise yet effortless. The audience felt it instantly. Cheers didn't just rise, they surged. People leaned forward, holding their breath, afraid to miss a single second. From the outside, it looked like another triumphant night. Another perfect stage. Another controlled victory. But beyond the applause, beyond the glare of the lights, there was another world waiting. A colder one, a quieter one, a place where the performance ended and reality began. And that is where the story truly starts. Backstage air is never gentle. That night, it was unforgiving. Industrial air conditioning clashed with winter drafts sneaking through open doors. The warmth of the crowd vanished instantly. Staff wrapped their coats tighter, shoulders hunched, fingers numb. The glamour dissolved into survival. Xiao Zhan had just stepped off stage. The adrenaline was still fading. His breathing hadn't fully settled. He held a cup of warm water between his palms, grounding himself, steadying his pulse. The silence backstage felt heavier than the roar of the crowd. That fragile moment, between performance and stillness, left him exposed. And then, without warning, the atmosphere shifted. No announcement, no entourage, no dramatic entrance. Just a figure dressed in black, blending seamlessly into the shadows of the corridor. Mask low, cap pulled down. A presence so understated that most would have missed it entirely, unless they knew exactly what they were looking at. A whisper traveled through the space. Soft, careful, almost afraid to be true. He's not on the list. Is that really him? There's no way. But the energy said otherwise. What happened next did not unfold like a scene from a script. There was no pause for timing, no awareness of angles, no instinct to perform. According to those nearby, Wang Yibo moved with the kind of ease that comes only from familiarity. He didn't scan the room. He didn't lower his voice for effect. He simply stepped closer, noticed the way Xiao Zhan's shoulders tensed against the cold, and reacted. The jacket came off quietly, not tossed, not handed over with ceremony, just lifted and placed carefully around Xiao Zhan's shoulders, as if that motion had lived in his muscle memory for years. The fabric settled. The cold retreated. Time seemed to slow. Xiao Zhan didn't react immediately. For a split second, witnesses say, he looked genuinely caught off guard. Not startled, just unguarded. And then, that expression appeared. The one fans rarely see. A smile without polish. Soft at the edges. Almost shy. "Thank you," he said, voice low. There was no playful banter. No teasing. Just presence. "Don't get sick," came the reply. "It's really cold tonight." Those words didn't need volume. They didn't need witnesses. They carried weight simply because they were said at all. They stood there together, not touching, yet undeniably close. Not performing closeness, not denying it either. Just existing in the same quiet pocket of space while the rest of the building pulsed with noise and countdowns. Around them, people understood. No instructions were given. No glances exchanged. Staff instinctively turned away, busied themselves with nothing in particular, allowing the moment to stay intact. It lasted only minutes, but it felt much longer. And when they finally stepped apart, nothing about it felt abrupt. No panic, no urgency, just a calm return to separate paths, as if both knew this moment had already said everything it needed to say. Moments like this are fragile. They aren't meant to survive exposure. There were no official statements, no confirmations, no denials, only fragments, shared carefully, almost reverently. by those who had been close enough to feel the shift in the air. And somehow that was enough. Online, the reaction didn't explode immediately. It spread, slowly, thoughtfully, emotion before excitement. Fans questioned their own hearts before questioning the story. He didn't have to be there. He wasn't scheduled. He chose that moment. What stirred people most wasn't what happened, but what didn't. No photos were pushed into the spotlight. No leaks were chased for clout. The story lived quietly in private spaces, passed from one fan to another with a sense of collective protection. And then there was the silence. Wang Yibo's absence from every public stage that night became impossible to ignore. No alternative appearances. No overlapping commitments revealed. Just a blank space where his presence might have been expected. For many, that absence carried intention, because silence, when chosen, can speak with remarkable clarity. Longtime fans felt something old stir again, not excitement, but recognition, the kind that settles in the chest. This wasn't nostalgia manufactured for consumption. It echoed moments from years past, when care was shown through proximity, through timing, through choices no one else needed to understand. It reminded them that some bonds don't vanish. They simply learn how to exist quietly. So what are fans left with now? Not proof, not certainty, not a headline sealed in ink. They are left with an image that refuses to disappear. A cold corridor backstage. A jacket shared without a word. Two people standing close enough to feel warmth return. Maybe this moment wasn't meant to answer anything. Maybe it wasn't a sign or a promise or a message at all. Maybe it was just what it appeared to be, one human instinctively caring for another. And yet, that simplicity is exactly why it resonates. In an industry driven by exposure, where every movement is weighed and documented, restraint becomes powerful. Choosing privacy becomes meaningful. And a single, quiet gesture can feel louder than any declaration. Fans aren't asking for confirmation. They aren't demanding explanations. They're holding space for a memory that feels real, for warmth that didn't need permission to exist, for the understanding that some connections don't need to be seen to be felt. If clarity ever comes, if something surfaces that sharpens the picture, this story will undoubtedly return to the surface. But even if it never does, the impact remains. Because on one cold night, away from the lights, something small happened. And somehow, it meant everything.